Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we got a huge update on that Overboard incident on the Icon of the Seas, and it's much worse and scarier than it was first reported when I was able to cover the story. We also have a story about a cruise line making a big change and then making some changes because of customer feedback. That's right, they actually listened to what we had to say. Also, we have the celebrity beyond. Is she repaired? Is she not repaired? Is she going to make her next sailing? Well, you'll just have to listen to find out. So first off, when I first reported the story on the Icon of the Seas of somebody going overboard, it was the very early moments when that was being reported out by the news stories. We didn't have all the full details, and I ended up having to travel that day, so that's why the video went out. It was pre-recorded when it first happened, and now more information has come out, and it's much worse than I first thought. At first thought, the first stories made it sound like person went overboard, took about 30 minutes to recover the person, and everything was fine. And it turns out everything's not fine. There's a lot of details that we're missing. First off, the person passed away. They did not survive jumping into the water, which is a tragedy into itself. However, the story goes even further than that. That's right. Apparently, this is a crew member, and it was something going on between two South African crew members on board the Icon of the Seas. One was the 35-year-old man who jumped into the water, and one was a 28-year-old female. And apparently something happened between the two, some sort of either argument, disagreement, lover's quarrel. We don't know the situation yet. That's being interrogated and searched by the police as well as security on board. But the gentleman, I use those words loosely right now, stabbed the female crew member multiple times in the upper torso. Now, the good news so far for this is that it seems like the medical team assisted her right away. They stabilized her, and it appears that she is going to make a recovery. So that's great news to hear from that. And apparently the reason the other crew member jumped overboard was they were running. They were running from what they did on the cruise ship. So again, we don't know the situation behind it. Was there some sort of argument? Was this a lover's thing going on, a quarrel? Was this a husband and wife? We don't know those details yet. Many crew members live together. Of course, you're living on a cruise ship for 9 months. A lot of you are, you're away from home, and it becomes a very close social network. People hook up all the time, break up all the time, but this is one of the first examples, extreme examples I've ever heard of this situation where there's actually an assault that happened on the cruise ship. It's not common. Again, passengers were never in danger. This all happened below in the crew quarters, and most passengers on board the Icon never even knew this was going on, other than the Oscar overboard situation that ran out. Again, condolences to everybody involved. It's a tragic story when any of this stuff happens, and when it's involved with two people like this and a stabbing besides that, it's even worse than that. And that's all coming on the heels of actual good news for the Icon of the Seas, as she just got her CDC health inspection on board, and she scored a perfect 100 for cleanliness and safety. So, they just got that report in this week. It's a great story for them. And then this kind of overshadows that. But in a way, congratulations to the Icon of the Seas. It's not easy to get 100. It's not easy to get 100 on a brand new ship. So, yeah, good job to the crew and everybody involved, Royal Caribbean there. Next, we have the Celebrity Beyond, and it was reported out again that the Celebrity Beyond ended up canceling her latest cruise because of propulsion issues, and they sent it over to the Bahamas to get repaired and fixed, and apparently it's all repaired now. It is running. They say it's 100% complete, and it will be able to sail tomorrow on the sailing for the 27th, which is great news if you have that sailing, right? Imagine if you were waiting to fly and wondering, should I fly in today or not? Well, the good news is your sailing's going forward. Now, there are going to be some changes to your upcoming itinerary, mostly due to speed, that they want to keep at a reduced speed. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but they are switching around Cozumel and Jamaica is the big change. They're going to do Cozumel last because it's closer to get back to the port. You don't have to travel as fast, and it makes it an easier sailing. Now, the reason that they're going slower right now and reduced speed is not because the engines aren't fixed. There's further propulsion issues. This is very much a common practice after major repairs of any kind to a cruise ship engine, its propulsion system. It's kind of like when you get your car, tuned up and broke, they say don't, take it easy for the first 100 miles, right? Well, that's exactly what they're doing on the cruise ship. They're going to take it easy, break it in, make sure there's no further complications, and then she'll be able to resume at normal speed, probably by the next sailing. So good news if you're on this Celebrity Beyond. She seems to be repaired and ready to go for tomorrow's sailing. Now, I also have a story about the cruise line who's listening to us and made a complete change to one system that they're doing. But before I get there, haven't done this in a while, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to the channel. That's right, if you haven't done so already, maybe hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising, from the bad stories that is going on, like on the Icon of the Seas, to finding out which ships scoring a perfect 100 in cleanliness. That's always good to know. The ships that are being repaired, when they're breaking down, what propulsion issues, itinerary changes, new ships coming online. We'll keep you up to date as best we can of all the stories going on, and I hope you'll join us here. And just, it doesn't cost anything to hit that subscribe button, but boy, it really does help the channel out in the long run, as YouTube says, hey, people are watching this channel, watching the news, let's share it to more people. And that's how the channel grows. And again, I really do appreciate it. Okay, Princess Cruise Line just came out announcing they're changing their Princess Plus and Premier. One of the big changes to the Plus was that they had that drink limit, the drink limit of 15 drinks per day. Now, what it said was drinks per day, which meant it also included your specialty coffees and things like that included in the alcohol. And people said, hey, wait a minute now, 15 drinks including coffees in an entire day on sea day, I may make that 15. I could very easily hit that 15 in a day, right? A lot of people will have 5 or 6 coffees just in the morning, especially on a lazy sea day when you're just sitting there reading a book or, chatting with your friends or watching the ocean go by. And Princess heard this, they listened to it, and now it is not including non-alcoholic beverages. That's right. Only the 15 alcoholic beverages count towards that limit. So there's a perfect example of people giving feedback to the cruise line, and the cruise line actually listened, and it now makes a lot more sense for a lot more people. Well, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think, hey, great, I'm glad the cruise line's limiting? Maybe they just reworded it incorrectly in the first place and meant it that way all along. But either way, they clarified it for us, and I'm glad when we hear cruise lines listening to what we say and making the changes that make sense. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.